guys ever had one of those jobs where about 5 or 10 minutes into the job you realize that you probably should have never agreed to do the job? Well, this is one of those jobs. Even though we were able to get good results that our client was very satisfied with, it was a train wreck, took way longer, and ended up costing us a lot more money than anticipated. But it's a concrete floor, something we don't do a whole lot of, so we learned a lot, and that's what's important. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Thanks so much for watching. Put it between a rug and the floor. That's what it was. So something between the rug and the concrete to keep it from sliding around. Gotcha. And when she went to move the rug and she went to move the piece that keeps the rug in place, this was left behind. Gotcha. And then she did try, I think she said Goo Gone or something, and it looked like it got some of it to come up. But other than that, I don't know. So you pretty much heard the dilemma there. We showed up, and I told her that we have had good luck with removing this type of issue from tile floors. We've seen it with a tile floor, and we've seen it several times with carpeted floors. And normally we are able to have, decent luck removing this completely from those surfaces. But that I'd never done a concrete floor, so I didn't want to promise anything. But I did asked that if it would be okay if we showed up and tried to remove one area. So that's exactly what we're doing here. She agreed to let us try to remove it in one area here before we went ahead and did the entire job. So basically what we're doing here is trying out several different solvents that I've brought, including dilamamine, goof off, and another gel, citrus gel remover as well. It's probably easy to see that we were having some results, not 100%, but we were able to start breaking it down, even though it was taking a whole lot more chemical and muscle than I anticipated, which kind of was the issue there. I was not wanting it to take as much time as it did. So once we agitated it with our hands and tried a bunch of different types of chemicals to remove it, we went ahead and used the floor spinner, which you'll see next, and we just used that for mostly tile and grout, but also other hard surface cleaning as well. So we hooked that up to the truck mount, and we extracted all of the chemical with 200-degree steam or hot water and rinsed it away completely before we had her come in and do an inspection of the area that we did as a sample. So what we're doing here is we're playing around with several different solvents in different orders, and probably shouldn't be doing this, but in some cases we're like mixing them and matching them up and using them, like I said, in different order with different pads to try to see if we're able to get a better breakdown. So there I just sprayed some goof off, and I'm seeing if that just in and of itself alone will take it off any better than some of the other stuff. So what we're finding is that it was coming off of there pretty good, but that certain pads were actually taking the finish of the concrete off as well. And of course at the end of the video you'll be able to see more specifically what I'm talking about. So that's a floor scraper I have there, and you can see in some of those areas we actually had to go and scrape the that sticky residue or gooey, gunky, rubbery material off of the concrete first. So as you can see there, we went ahead and rinsed away that area. Next thing we did was have her come in and inspect it. And even though it wasn't the results that she was hoping for, she did agree that it was better than leaving it like it was. So this home actually just went under contract. She's lived here for quite some time. The home was actually built in 1980, so it's been here for quite some time. And of course, everything was very well updated in the home. These floors were obviously not original, but at some point they finished the concrete and stained it, which is a very nice maintenance-free flooring. And really, this is like one of the only problems we've ever seen with it. So if you didn't know, don't put down one of those mats that holds area rugs in place on a concrete floor. I'm not exactly sure what happened with the chemical reaction, but I was working for a gentleman a few days prior to this job, and I mentioned this job specifically to him, and he immediately knew what had transpired that caused this problem to occur. Apparently there's something, and maybe somebody that's watching this can comment below, but apparently there's some kind of chemical that weeps back up from concrete, which oftentimes causes certain things to break down, and that's exactly what had occurred with that mat. We've seen it before, like I said, on carpet and tile, but never to this extent. It's never been quite that bad. You can see we just took the green pad off of the 175 floor machine, which is this rotary machine I'm using here to agitate the solvent into the concrete, or the residue on the concrete. So the green pad worked, but not nearly as well as we would have liked. So that area right there, and again, you'll see it a lot more clearly when we get done at the very end of the video. I'll show you guys the finished product, what it all looks like. But that area there, which I'm touching right now, and Thomas is pointing out, is where we actually kind of removed the finish from the concrete. So it's a little bit shinier, has a nice little sheen to it, pretty much everywhere else except for this corner of the rug, or where the rug was. And so we pointed that out to the client as well, and she really wasn't that upset. She wasn't bothered by it at all, because she has a product that she feels like she's going to be able to put down to kind of restore that. And she's also just really happy that it doesn't have that white stuff all over, because she tried several different things to remove it. I think Goo Gone made a little tiny bit of an impact, but she immediately realized that it was not a job that she was going to be able to tackle by herself. So a friend of hers referred us, and it was kind of neat because she was a teacher, and now she works at the admin building for the Department of Education in our area. But for many years, she was an educator. And Lyndon, who you guys probably know, he immediately recognized her, and as soon as the door opened. So that's one of the benefits of working in a small community like this, is oftentimes our technicians know. If I don't know them personally, there's degrees of separation. It's not hard to connect the dots, and somebody on our team probably knows one of their friends or family members. And so sure enough, Lyndon and I opened the door, and her and Lyndon started talking, and it was pretty funny because on the way back to the van to get some of the tools and chemicals that we were going to need, Lyndon said that she had gotten him out of trouble a number of times, and so he was a big fan. So that was our client today. It was pretty neat connecting with her. Anyway, this ended up taking us a lot longer than I anticipated. Again, we've had success on tile, carpet, and I incorrectly assumed that it was going to be relatively the same process, or is about the same as far as how hard it was to remove this stuff. But for some reason on the concrete, it ended up being a whole lot harder than anything I had done in the past. So just a warning, if you guys clean floors, if you're carpet cleaners and somebody calls you to do a concrete floor that has this issue, do what I did. I mean, I'm glad I did what I did, which is I went into it saying, I'm not sure I can get any kind of good results. We'll try a certain area, and if you like it, we'll go ahead and do the rest of it. The only thing I should have done was I initially bid this job for $185, and as soon as I did the one sample area and got the results that she was happy with, I should have said, hey, unfortunately, it took a lot more chemical and a lot more agitation than I initially thought. Are you okay paying a little bit more, and increase the price? Because at the end of the job, again, we're not as profitable as we really would have liked to have been going into it. But one thing I hate is changing the price once I've quoted it. So I was reluctant to do that. I didn't end up doing that. And the truth is, the lessons we learned doing this job far exceeded any additional money that we would have made from increasing the price on our client, which always... well, not always, oftentimes can leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth, especially if it's like her. I think this was one of the first times she'd ever used us. Even though she'd heard many good things about our company, she'd actually personally never used us before. So again, in an effort to save battery and time, I didn't show the entire area being cleaned, because my phone would have died, and the ring light would have died as well. So if anybody has any questions about concrete floor cleaning, or how to remove this specific type of issue. Delamamine was the magic secret sauce that ended up helping us out a lot. But please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love an opportunity to share everything I learned on this job with anybody who has any questions or any desire to learn at all. And of course, as always, I really appreciate everyone taking the time to watch. Would love any feedback in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video or got any value out of this at all, please don't forget to mash the thumbs up down below and subscribe to our channel. Ring the notification bell so you get notified every time we publish new content. There's the finished product. You can see right there in the bottom left the area that we took the polish off. Overall, though, really, really good results. And the most important thing, of course, our client was very, very happy and satisfied with our job.